Hello again. Today's tutorial video is going to be about brioche knitting in two colors. That's right, not one, but two. It's always good to pick colors that accent each other well, because as you can see, the ridges stand out very well against a ditch of a second color. And on the reverse, you might have guessed it, the ridges are the second color with the ditches showing off a bit of that gray. I really think that brioche knitting in two colors is where it gets really fun, and it opens the doors for lots of different designs, and you can do a whole lot with it. So, I am going to show you basically how to do two-color ribbing. First, you work with whichever one is your main color, and it doesn't matter, but that one will always go first, and you'll get what that means in a bit. So, like before, yarn forward, slip one yarn over, brioche knit. You know this is easy. And what I like about two-color brioche knitting is that it's color-coded for you. Anytime you see the stitch, not the yarn over, but the stitch of the color that you're working with, that's the one that you're going to brioche knit or brioche purl. And the other stitches, this is yellow, so obviously we're just going to slip that. Not going to work it. So it actually almost makes it easier to keep track of your work. Not always, but sometimes. So, I've just knit across once with my main color, but my other color's way at this end. This is why you need a circular needle. You actually pull your work down to the other side. And now, like I said, that main color is always the one that goes first, and your second color is always playing a game of catch-up. And in this case, because right now the stitches lying between the ridges are just ditches, I will be brioche purling those, because I don't want the yellow ridges to show up on this side. At least, not yet. That's another video. So, yarn forward, slip one yarn over, brioche purl, again and again. There's nothing new here. It's just getting used to sliding your work over in between your main and your secondary color on every row. And rather than working back on all of those other stitches, I have essentially worked all of my stitches across just with one of the two colors. And so now you have to go back. And what that means is all of those stitches that I was brioche knitting on that first row, well, now I've got to brioche purl them in order to maintain a consistent look. So it does take a little bit of getting used to, but I think a lot of it's common sense, just keeping track of which stitches are showing up on which side. And the colors should make it pretty easy for you to keep track of. End of the row, slide my needle over, and my secondary yarn is going to catch up again. Now it is fairly easy for your yarns to get twisted at the edges, depending on what your selvage type is. I always just remember to take my secondary yarn and carry it to the wrong side of the work at the end of the row. So I'll show you in just a moment here. I've finished a wrong side row. Now before I slip this over because, again, my selvage edge is just being worked with the main color so that it has a consistent look to it. I think it gives it a nice neat edge. If I just slip it like this, now my yarn is on the other side, and that's fine, but you need to be consistent, otherwise you have these unsightly twists. So I just bring it back to the front of my work before slipping the selvage stitch over. Keeps that out of the way, and we're back where we started. That's really all there is to it. Check out the other videos to see more color brioche knitting.